If I could go back to Ranasinghe Premadasa.
Yeah.
His legacy is something of a dual, there's a dual feature to it. Now on one side, a lot of people in Colombo will remember that period and associate it to Ranasinghe Premadasa, the period of the JVP, of murders and a lot of upheaval in Sri Lankan society, in Colombo, central Colombo itself. But of course there's the other side, where is the 200 garment factories that you've mentioned before. There's I think the scholarship by Dr. Saman Kelagama regarding the second golden
and Dave
revolution
Dunham.
and Dave Dunham, the second period of liberalization, the golden industrial period of Sri Lanka. So how do you find the complexities between the Premadasa legacy, and do you think it's a positive for the current opposition leader Sajith Premadasa? Do you think he should intertwine his political career with his father's legacy? Does he have a choice in the matter?
Oh, he has a choice. He has a choice. I just hope he makes the right one. Look, the killings that you're talking about. Premadasa, few people know this. Premadasa had a long conversation with Rohana Wijeweera. The guy who told me this was the only other guy in the room. Kelly Senanayake, who's still alive, former leader of the JVP. Wijeweera had wanted to book the town hall for his May Day speech. So Premadasa was Minister of Local Government apart from being Prime Minister, and they went along, and it had been an all-nighter. And Kelly told me that, now Premadasa knew about the JVP. He had attended every single session of the Criminal Justice Commission, which was the trial after the April 71 insurrection, every single session. And he had with him Susil Sirivardhana, who was involved and was jailed. He was a nephew of S.W.R. Bananayaka, Oxford and Harvard and so on. So he was very clued in on the JVP. But this conversation with Wijeweera was very important, and we have testimony later as to the veracity of the story. At the end of the day, at the end of the night, Premadasa told Wijeweera, look, I agree with everything you're saying about the grievance, social grievances, and the kind of and the changes that this society has to go through, all of that. But I will never agree with you on one thing, and one thing alone, and that is the use of violence for that purpose. Because if you do that, the state will also react, and the people who will suffer most will be the poor people that you and I say we are fighting for. Right? Now, years after that, many years, decades after that, Wijeweera's son, who is in Sri Lanka now, he remembers his family being taken to meet President Premadasa after the killing of their father. And he says, President Premadasa told his mother, Wijeweera's widow, Rohana mama kiyapu de ahawe nane. Rohana didn't listen to what I said. The family didn't have a problem with that because they knew that to be true. The boy didn't say, that SOB was lying. He just related this story. He's back from Russia. He did very well at the university there. I know when I was ambassador, this guy had won. He was the president of the Students' Council in a place where there are like 3 Sri Lankans and 10,000 students. So Premadasa had no choice. When he came to office, he declared an amnesty. They released over 1,000 JVP guys who were in custody. And he said, I'll dissolve the parliament. I'll give you 3 ministries. You name the ministries. Let's change this place together. But in their arrogance, which has still not left them, in their overweening arrogance and overestimation of themselves, they gave him the finger. And they went back to killing innocent people who voted and so on. Jayatilleka and Ravi Jayawardena, the STF, the whole UNP had been fighting the JVP from 86 to 88, 86, 87, 88 and failed. Premadasa took office on January 3rd, 1989. By November 1989, it was all over. So he had to clear that space. He was not given a choice. He reached out to them. So all the programs were possible only because he did that. But he started Janasavya while the JVP insurrection was on. Round 1 of Janasavya started in the Hambantota district. So that was Premadasa. And as far as Sajith is concerned, I can't speak for him. But what does he bring to the table? I mean, he's got a very good English public school education. But then there are 1 or 2 others in UNP politics who have a similar educational background. I believe Ruan is another. What Sajith really brings to the table is that he's the only guy in Sri Lanka who has a first-rate Western education and a sense of and for the poor, the people.
Right.
Now, of course, it's a different mix from Premadasa. I mean, all of us are different from our fathers who have distinguished themselves in various walks of life. Whenever my friend, younger friend, Nirgunan Tiruchal, Neelan's son, says, you know, but Sajith is not like his father, I said, Nigi, I mean, people would say the same thing about you and me.
Yeah.
Right. So that's true of all of us. We had it, okay, we did the hard yards, we had to go through stuff, but we had it relatively easy because of our fathers. So it's the same with this guy. He has to decide. The same decision that Chandrika had to make. Chandrika got it part right, part wrong. How does she stand in relation to her father and her mother? She deviated from it enough to get herself elected, but she deviated from it far too far when she was president and wound up one of the most forgettable presidents we've had. I mean, all the public opinion polls, she's got like under 5% approval rate.
Yeah.
If she had tapped into, if she had channeled her inner Sirimavo, she would have finished Prabhakaran off. You know, it wouldn't have taken Mahinda Rajapaksa to do that. And she could have implemented a new constitution, but she didn't. So Sajith has to make that choice himself. It's an existential choice. And I hope he follows the advice given publicly to him by Lakshman Vatawala, where at this very big meeting in Nellun Pokona, in his speech, he said, he talked about the 200 garment factories program, he talked about Premadasa's innovative models of management, and he said, you should take the path, pick it up from where he left off. I can't think of any better advice. And in this crisis, Professor Harvard Nicholas has been on your program, and I heard him tell you, and this was unforgettable for, I'm sounding patronizing, for a young guy to do a program like that where even an old guy like me remembers stuff, where Harvard Nicholas told you, you asked him whether he was optimistic or pessimistic, right?
Yes.
About Sri Lanka today.
Yes.
And he said, I am optimistic and I'll tell you why. He said, because I was pessimistic in the late 80s. I just could not see any way out. And it was President Ranasinghe Premadasa who turned it around, and that's what made me a believer. So I would say Sajith can go another route, but given also the nature of the crisis that we are in, he's got a father who came in when we had 2 civil wars and one in the presence of a foreign military on Sri Lankan soil, and he turned it around. And his model is being studied now. People like Harvard Nicholas, as you said, Dave Dunham, Saman Kalaigana, there are researchers who've gone into this and said, this guy, he did it. And I think he's the only guy who, in Sri Lanka certainly, or anywhere, who cracked the most difficult of economic problems. That is, how do you do growth and equity at the same time?
Right.
So, I think Sajith, that's a route that he should go, not imitate, not mimic, not try to go back, but try to go forward from where his dad left off.